Morning.
Good. You know, whatever they change the formula to the cream.
Okay. Okay. So, Simeon, hope you're having a wonderful Hanukkah down there in Florida.
Why down there? Why not up there?
Down there. Stuff. Right. Here we go. So I know that we have some of our regulars are not here today, so for you all will catch it on the recording. I miss you. Okay. We're going to do because obviously the longer Hanukkah davening, sorry for the later start. We're going to, but we'll still learn a little bit today, and then this is the last siman that relates to a topic of candles and Shabbos. So, hello, ooh, that looks good. So what we're going to do, it's flat here actually. So what we're going to do is probably Aleph, maybe Beis in Reish Ayin Tes. Okay, Dine Tiltul Haner b'Shabbos, the laws of moving a candle on Shabbos, and to be more specific, when the word ner is used here, not so much like the actual flame. We're talking about the ner is almost like the holder of the candle, meaning like that's where you would put the oil on the wick. We call ner a candle, but it's actually not the flame. The flame is called the shalheves. That's the word for flame. So it's the thing that allows there to be a flame. So we're going to talk about what are the halachos of moving these things on Shabbos. We'll get into some bigger muktzah topics, even though this isn't the full treatment. The full treatment of muktzah comes later in Hilchot Shabbos.
So, Rav, could you just say where are we? Reish Ayin Zion?
Reish Ayin Tes.
Reish Ayin Tet.
Right at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so here we go. The Shulchan Aruch begins this section. It says, "Ner shehidliku bo ba'osa Shabbos, af al pi shekava asvil taltalo." So a candle that was lit, shehidliku bo ba'osa Shabbos, that was lit on that particular Shabbos. You see it? You found the spot?
Yes.
It's stapled from right to left. Actually, the first page is it's there you go. So you got to turn. There you go. Okay. So a candle that was lit on that particular Shabbos, even though it has at a later point extinguished, it went out. You blew it out. Also, you cannot move the ner. You can't move the thing in which the candle, in which the flame was lit, even though the flame is no longer in existence. V'chein mosar hashemen shabaner sheiliku vo ba'osa Shabbos also lataltal listapik minu ba'osa Shabbos. And also the leftover oil in the candle in the oil lamp that was lit on that particular Shabbos, it is prohibited to move the oil. Forget the ner, the lamp. Even the oil in the lamp, even though the flame has gone out, you think, okay, well now I can at least take some of the oil and I'll drizzle that olive oil on my salad. You can't do it. You can't even move it, by the way. Forget even if you wanted to put it on the salad, you can't move it, and we'll see that really you can't move it really bichlal at all. So also the tatal uli stopping minute osa Shabbos, and you can't use it on that particular Shabbos as well. Again, only on Shabbos. When Shabbos is over, that oil is permissible for you to use, and you can move the ner. It's only on Shabbos that those things are non-movables. Okay.
But Rav, why is he so specific? Why is Rav Karo so specific by saying ba'osa HaShabbos? He says that twice.
Because it's only on that particular Shabbos, meaning you can have a candle, meaning an oil lamp, let's say, and the oil lamp, I didn't use it that Shabbos. So that's not going to be, it's not going to be not movable. That is movable on Shabbos if there is a need. L'tzorach gufo, you need it for something else. You want to use the oil lamp as a holder for something else on that Shabbos, or you need the space on which the oil lamp is sitting, so that I can move it. But if that oil lamp was lit on that particular Shabbos, then it is not movable. So that's why it's important whether it was lit or it was not lit that particular Shabbos.
What about the subsequent Shabbos? That's not Osa HaShabbos. It's the next Shabbos.
Correct, and then so that's why whatever happens this Shabbos doesn't affect next Shabbos. So if I lit the oil lamp this Shabbos, it doesn't, and then next Shabbos I don't light it. So the previous Shabbos doesn't change any status of the future Shabbos. Then I can move it. I can do all sorts of things that I'm not allowed to do on the Shabbos when it was lit.
So if the following Shabbos I use a different candelabra, or my wife uses a different candelabra,
Yeah.
this one that went out on the previous Shabbos now is considered muktzah now?
No, the one that went out on the previous Shabbos doesn't affect the current Shabbos. You might say it's. We'll get to this topic a little bit today. That it's a klisha malachta liyitzer, that we use it for things that are usually typically prohibited. Well, it doesn't have to be. An oil lamp could also be used as a food holder. You could repurpose it. So I'm just saying there could be another way of looking at this. But so the bottom line is that the previous Shabbos doesn't affect its status for the next Shabbos.
Okay.
All right. Take a look at Mishnah Berurah Sif Katan Aleph, Beis, and Gimel. So the Mishnah Berurah begins here. Afal pishu kava v'chule. Even though the flame has already gone out, we are Reish Ayin Tes Sif Aleph. Now we're just about to start Mishnah Berurah Sif Katan Aleph. V'hainu afilu nishar bo shemen klal. Let's say that the candle went out and it burned up all the oil. There is no oil left at all. So you think, what's the problem with me being able to use, I can move it. It's all, what's the fear here? The candle went out, all the oil's gone. What's going on? The hatam, and here comes our very, an overarching important rule for Hilchot Shabbat that the rabbis made when it comes to things that are muktzah, which look like muktzah means set aside, that are out of my mind, not necessarily out of sight, but they're out of mind in terms of being able to move it. And there could be different reasons why I'm not moving it. Okay? That's going to be very key here. And the reason is, during the twilight period, that's when the candle for sure was burning. I had to light it before Shabbos, right? So, okay, not too loud. Okay? And since it was prohibited during that time in tiltul, in movement, because the candle was on, why can't I move it during that time when the candle is lit?
Because Suffolk Yom, Suffolk Lila, and it might be Shabbos, and by moving it, you will affect the size of the flame.
Excellent. It is perhaps Shabbos, or at this point we treat it as it's already Shabbos, even though it's a Suffolk Yom, Suffolk Lila question. But even so, we've already accepted Shabbos, so for sure, even from a rabbinic standpoint, we've accepted Shabbos early. Even if it were that didn't start till Teis Kochavim in the world of perhaps reality. And as Bruce and Simeon both said, the other day when I move it around, I'll affect the size of the flame, and now I'm violating prohibitions on a biblical level of kindling and extinguishing and Torah level prohibition, not from the rabbis. It's like no, that's worse. That's worse. That's usually worse. I mean, it's not good to violate any of our laws, but certainly when it comes to Torah laws, that's a serious problem. And since it was usher to move during that Ben Hashmashos period, Lefisha Nasa Ner Vashem Apsila Basis Lashal Heves Shehu Davar Ha'asr Betiltul. And why I couldn't move it because of the Isser piece, right? And the oil, the wick, the lamp itself are a basis. We've talked about this topic about basis. They are a base, literally a holder up of the flame, the shalheves, which is shehu davar ha'asr betiltul, which the flame is prohibited to move on Shabbos because changing the size of the flame is a problem. And therefore, the things that hold up the flame, namely the wick, the oils, and the actual lamp, all are a part of this thing that makes the flame what it is, and therefore they are all, because they can't, because the flame is not movable, they all are a basis. And here comes this is the famous Shas rule. For those who have learned Hilchot Shabbat in other contexts, this is a very important rule for Hilchot Shabbat. And I don't know if it's ever come up yet in our learning of Hilchot Shabbat to this point. I'm not actually sure. The rule the rabbis established is that if it is set aside, it is muktzah. Katsai is from the same word as muktzah, same shoresh. It's a nigo. Since it's set aside during the Bein Hashmashos period, the rabbi said once it's set aside during the Bein Hashmashos period, it is now, we therefore are setting it aside for the entirety of Shabbos. L'chule yoma. Okay? That is the rule when it comes to muktzah. The determination of a status of an item in terms of muktzah is made in the Bein Hashmashos period. It then carries that designation. We'll talk about more of these things as we go later into Hilchot Shabbos. That designation of what is its category. Is it? We'll talk about it in a moment here. Is it muktzah machmas isser, which is what this is? Right? Is it set aside because of something prohibited? Is it muktzah machmas? Whatever. There are different statuses like we could say. Then its status is determined in the Bein Hashmashos period. Okay. V'zeu hanikra b'Gemara. The Mishnah Berurah says this is what's called in the Gemara muktzah machamecha mas isser. It is set aside because of a prohibition. What is the prohibition here? The kaimalan be'isli isur. We establish this to be an isur, right? That moving the flame, the movement of the flame is a problem in and of itself. Let's see, check one of the extra comments that's mentioned here. Just in the back of the right. He points out here in the extra comments that it's an all the way in the back. So for those who use that addition when you are listening to the shir, it's number 4. That what about a light switch on the wall? I think, come on, my clinger here. That playing with lights on Shabbos is awesome, right? What if the power goes out? Can I move the switch? Okay, it's not going to do anything. The power is out in the house. Can I touch the switch? And the answer is no. He says it's actually an extension of this. During Bein Hashmashos, for me to do that would be an isser. And since therefore that's an isser, just the movement of the switch creates an isser. Therefore, even when the power is off later on Shabbos, the power goes out, I still can't play with the light switch.
So how is it?
Because of the same, svara. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
The kind of timer that the pins go in and out of can be adjusted on Shabbos? Why?
It's different because the
whole contraption is a muktzah thing.
The contraption to pull it out, or to probably even to move it, that contraption is probably an issue for sure. The pins, while are part of the structure, don't actually move the rest of the timer.
So if you're doing that, you have to be sure not to move the timer.
Yes, which is probably not so complicated because if the thing is plugged in very well, it's probably, again, you could touch, no problem in touching, you're probably not moving it. And that's why, again, that was only allowed, where Shlomo Zalman had that, I think we talked about that, the leniency that if you delay the time that it goes off.
The old wall switches, weren't going to be moving it.
Right. The timer or something.
Oh, they were fixed in?
They were fixed in.
Oh.
Yeah, you had it for a wall.
Probably. And by the way, that's probably what they were. The ones today are not like that. But you're right. You're saying that's how it used to be. Interesting. So
if you have, if you think before Shabbos that I'm going to use this, then therefore it's not me to special.
No, because here it is. Because
why?
Because the flame is on, and therefore it is immovable. There is an isser here, and even just moving it an inch. Because I will shake the oil in.
And that's even Sorach Monk, even if I need this place.
We're going to get that in Sif base. And the answer is going to be yes.
Yeah,
it's a very strict level.
It's higher.
It's a stricter, higher level of muktzah because there's an isser involved here. It's not just something I usually use to do something usser, like a pen. Right? Usually I use it to write, which is prohibited on Shabbos. But I also could use a pen in a different way. I could use it as a back scratcher, right? That's a little bit of the shaila here. Is that or the difference? That's one is right now in a state of isser. The other one could be used for an isser. Okay.
It's very important to put, let's say, if you want to move it, to put it on for something else, put it on this tray.
In order to then be able to move the tray, you're saying?
Yeah.
Unless the tray is itself a basis also. Let's probably put something else on the tray to make it that it's holding up hadav or heter and asur. Then now your tray is movable and you have to move it very carefully without moving the stuff on top of the tray. Yes.
I'm saying lights go off. Therefore you can't move the tray.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct. If there's nothing else on the tray is also then a basis. Yes. Sorry, go ahead, Damien. Yes, see your hand up. Go ahead.
Rav, Hinda began raising a point, and I don't see how you can skirt it. The Mishnah Brura is pressing the point that if you have a lit candle or a lit flame and you move it, you are committing tiltul. What's happening is the level of the oil in the wick is changing and you are regulating the fire. Now, if you have an electric switch that has lost its ability, for whatever the reason, to turn on Shabbos, where is that application in that circumstance?
So it's not that the power went off before Shabbos. Then actually, ironically, you could play with the switch. Not a problem at all. If the lights are on when Shabbos starts, so for me to flip it off, or vice versa, let's say the power is on, and for me to, or let's just leave it as the case was it's on. It's on. And for me to play with the switch is to violate Shabbos. Therefore, the switch now is the stretch here of this is that it's a bus, even though that it's an electric, there are wires running. It's not like literally I'm holding it up, but it's essentially doing the same thing, which is it is the mechanism by which which allows the lights to go on and off. So if it's on, Shabbos is going on, the power goes out in the middle of Shabbos. I don't know why you would want to do it, but could you play with the switch for fun now? If power's off, we can just we can play with it up and down. It's a waste of time. I would think there's no good reason to do it, but theoretically, can I do it? The answer is why would you do it, Dayer? So you're trying to make it. There you go. Make sure you write that in your safer one day. And then what happens? I can play with it because the power has gone out. Can I? Well, no, because when Shabbos started, to touch that was essentially to move the candelabra, which is a problem. And therefore, even though the flame is out, the parallel case is the flame is out for the candle. I can't move it. The power is out. So now I still can't move that switch. Again, I don't know why you'd want to move the switch, but theoretically, if you wanted to, there is no reason, there is no permission to do so in that circumstance. Again, I'm not sure why you'd want to. That's just a big loss to us on Shabbos that you can't touch that switch. No, that's the point. No, you can't. Okay, let's keep going here. Now, a very important halacha, because it's like essentially like a bus. It's the same reason, even though because it was the muktzah machamas isser. It was set aside due to an isser. Okay. Im yesh emas. I keep going in the Mishnah Berurah. Im yesh emas eino Yehudi alav al yedei haner kemo shaya bizman ha'amoraim. If let's say there's the fear of a non-Jew upon him, as it relates to the lights, okay, like it was in the days of the Amoraim, shahaya uma achas. There was one nation shayu makpidim b'yom chagam al Yisrael that were very makpid on their holiday. I mean, not the Jewish holiday, on their holiday. Shemadlikin ner ba'oso hayom. They were makpid on the Jews about the Jews' candles in their houses. So, what about? I don't remember exactly which part of the Gemara this is from, like which nation this was that we were fearful of. But what's clear? Do you remember? I don't remember offhand. It's probably an Avodah Zarah. They were makbid anyways. Whatever it is that about, and related to our candles, because they held candles in high regard. Any situation like this where we're worried that they'll see, oh, their candles went out. They put their candles out, and therefore it's a fear. So if my candles are somewhere visible or whatever, or they're near the door, in order to be able to, it was important to be able to move them. Maybe, because here it says mutar l'taltal l'achar shekava. After the lights go out, you can move the lamp. You can move it all out of the sight lines, because we don't want them to perhaps hurt us. Look what he says here. This is from the Hilchot Shabbat, Shabbos. Not like the Magen Avraham though. Only Pri Megadim. The Pri Megadim says mashma she'im yare she'yakehu o she'ar hefsed mamon. They're going to come and literally beat you, right? Or they're going to. This will cause some major money loss. They're going to come and set something on fire on your property. They're going to damage. This could be a really serious situation. Then l'chulei al mashari, to move it is of course perfectly fine, because again we're talking about an isra muktzah, it's rabbinic. We're talking about potentially some danger here. These they get a little, they're sakana. They're getting riled up by our actions, by just being us, and they're getting riled up by it. We didn't do anything to poke fun at them. They're getting all worked up. So you can move it away so that they don't know what's going on in our house. They don't have to be bothered by it. So that's important to know. Again, if there's situations of sakana, whatever like this, you'll need to. And by the way, even if it's just I'm worried about a shar hefsed mamon, they're going to damage my property. They're going to do whatever, all sorts of things to intimidate me. For this rabbinic prohibition, we'll set it aside, under such circumstances of the movement of the candelabra, or of the what do we call this again? Not the candelabra. One, it just got one. My brain's fried right now. That's when it's got many ones. Candlestick, the lamp. That's what I was looking for. Lamp.
That shouldn't be a problem at all. We learn Sakaras Nefashos pushes back the Shabbos Kula.
Oh, 100%. But what if they're going to threaten me that Simeon, they say, to the Jewish community, say, if you slash your tires, we're gonna, I don't know. They're gonna do lots of intimidating things that will damage my property.
Right.
Not my life in danger. So even so, we don't need to start up with people who have such a sugar attitude.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Exactly. They set up an encampment on your front yard. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead. What's your question? Okay. I hear. All right now. Okay. Sif cotton base. Mostar Hashem and Shebaneh, the extra oil that's left in the lamp after it goes out. Okay, Sif cotton base. V'uadid Mostar Haner Asli Michela V'Shav, and that's including the extra from the candle that's left over. If it was a candle of fat, animal fat, or wax, Sheiliku Abos Shabbos that was lit on that particular Shabbos, the kava, and then it goes out. You're saying, well, why would I want to? I get the oil. I want to use the extra oil. Why would I want to use the extra leftover melted wax? Well, you know what? Sometimes it actually feels nice to peel that stuff off. I don't know. It's very satisfying, as Yair would tell you. It's satisfying to peel the wax off. It's Hanukkah right now, right? Yeah, my kids love peeling the wax. This is a fun activity. So you're not supposed to peel the wax on Shabbos. You have because it's a muktzah mechamas isur. On a regular night of Hanukkah, that's fine. But this is from Hilchot Shabbat. There's no muktzah when it comes. There's a kind of muktzah actually on Hanukkah, but no. Okay, now you know. So Sifkat on Gimel litaltalo stop a minute. What about to move and to use this oil that's left over? I mean, come on, it's extra good oil. I could use it for the olive oil for something, some food. Yeah, the oil of the huktzah betchilas knisas haShabbos. Since it was set aside at the beginning of when Shabbos entered the Hainu B'Shebein Hashmashos during the twilight period, since during that time I couldn't take the oil. To take the oil is to remove oil, and then the flame goes out faster, right? And also, I'm going to move around the oil literally when I do that. So, I'm liable for extinguishing the flame. as we saw in Reish Samachay some time ago. So what do we say? It's katzai lechulayoma. Since it was set aside during the Ben Hashmashos period, this is reiterating that important rule. It is set aside for the entirety of Shabbos day. Even though after it goes out, what Isser could I possibly do? It doesn't matter, because during the time of Ben Hashmashos, that was in a state of Isser, and that is how we determine the status for the entirety of the Shabbos day. The Kemen she'asur lehanos mimenu kol hayom kol yom haShabbos memela asur gam kein letaltalo. And since it was prohibited to benefit from the entire Shabbos day, memela, therefore, obviously, it's asur then to move it. So if the oil is asur for the entire Shabbos day because it was lit, because the oil was being drawn from during Ben Hashmashos, now that it's off, well, I could use my oil. No, you can't, because the oil is immovable. It's not usable. And once it's not usable, that is to the category of junk on Shabbos, like sticks and stones. They're not. There's no real purpose, unless I set them aside before Shabbos. There is no purpose for them, and therefore to even move the oil, not to use it, just to move it is a problem, because it has no purpose on Shabbos. I said it because it's asur during Ben Hashmashos, and now I can't use it the rest of the Shabbos. There is no purpose for this oil at all. So there's no purpose during Ben Hashmashos. It is therefore immovable the entirety of Shabbos. This is the rule that Chazal established. Why is that, Bruce?
If it's blocking you from a purpose that you do have to.
So we're going to see actually here we're more strict. We're going to get to it in Sif Beis right now in a moment. It's going to be more strict here. Yes. So what does he say here in the Mishnah, just to finish it up? It's fitting to do nothing with now. The oil is completely fitting for during Shabbos. After Shabbos, you'll use it again. You can use it for whatever you want, but this is completely roy for nothing. Umilvad zeh. Aside from this, what its purpose was as Shabbos started. The tiltul gufa hukta b'bein hashmashos. So in terms of movement, it was set aside during bein hashmashos that I couldn't move it. Shenasa kol basis the hashalheves. It's all a basis of the shalheves, and therefore it's now itself muktzah. Things that are a basis become muktzah themselves. Uchode'el b'reish simin reish sif katan aleph, as we said in sif katan aleph, in terms of the status of muktzah mechamas isra. That if it's a basis, now it can't move because it's awesome. That is sif aleph. Let's take a look at sif beis here. Sif beis builds on this, and we'll do a little bit for a few minutes, and then and then we'll have to stop. But let's get a little bit into this. Okay, ner zeh she'amarnu. This candle that we were this lamp that we were just talking about. He says, let's continue the topic. Ner zeh she'amarnu she'aslos halta. That you can't move it. Afilu litzorech gufo litzorech mekomo aser. Even if you need the actual item, to use it in a permissible way. Come on, a lamp. You ever have a lamp? If you don't put oil in it, you don't put a wick in it, you know what you could use it for? A dip for hummus. Right? Being creative here. You stick the hummus in there, you put it on the table, and you dip your challah in it. I could, and I would never think of doing that, but I could do that. Right? If I have, as I've used the example even today, if you have a pen is certainly also to write with, but I could take the pen, make sure that the pen is capped so that there's no potential for me to write. So it's capped, no writing. Take it and I could scratch my back. Scratching your back is mutter on Shabbos. The bottom of the pen, if it's not the part that writes, it's just the cap. What's wrong with using a cap to scratch your back? So usually when it comes to things that are typically used for an isur, like a pen, the general rule is that if I would like to move the pen, to use the pen to be a back scratcher, to use it in a way that is permissible, to use the lamp as a hummus holder, that's permissible. That's tzorach gufo. I need the actual item, and I'm going to use it in a permissible way, not in its usual, typical, prohibited way. Or if the pen is on my Shabbos table on Shabbos started, I should have cleaned it before Shabbos. You're absolutely right. I missed it. You should avoid these things. But it's there, and now I need the space. Right? Can I move the pen from my Shabbos table? The answer is, of course I can. That's tzorech mekomo. I need the place on which the item, which is typically used for prohibited purposes, is sitting. So if the oil lamp that is not lit on Shabbos, but it's typically used for fire, if it's sitting on my table and I'm like, oh, I need the spot, I didn't use it on that Shabbos. Can I take it and move it? The answer is yes. It's a klisha malachtol yisr. It's an item which is typically used for prohibited purposes, but it's not today. It's just sitting there doing nothing. I can move that letzorech mekomo. I need a spot. I want to put the dining room, cutlery. I want to set a dining room table for Shabbos. I need to move it. It's in the way. Then I can move it. But here, even letzorech gufo, even if, let's say, the oil burned up, the flame is gone, but it was lit on that Shabbos. So now I want to use it. I'll even wash it. I'll go take it to the sink. I'll take the leftover oil lamp. I'll take it to the sink. I'll scrub it with the Shabbos scrubber, clean it out so I don't have any taste of whatever, even though it was oil. So how bad could it be? And then I'm going to stick the hummus in there, and then I'll put it on the table for lunch tomorrow. The answer is I can't do it. Even though at that point, what Isser did I commit? No Isser D'Oraisa. I couldn't even potentially violate any Isurim D'Oraisa. The flame was gone. Even the oil now is gone. Right?
What you did wrong is embodied in the word ba'oso HaShabbos.
Correct. So the problem was that it was lit on that Shabbos, and therefore, and it was during Beit HaShmosho set aside because of an Isser as unusable and immovable, and therefore even L'tzorach Gufo or L'tzorach Makom, or let's say I need the space. Here is one of the instances where we'll say, I'm sorry, you absolutely cannot move that item. More often than not, you can move things on Shabbos. We tend to get frustrated with our kids. Don't move it, muktzah. Don't touch that, muktzah, 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 muktzah. Do you guys hear me say that too much in our house? I think I'm actually pretty careful. I don't say that too much. I won't say the word muktzah. I'll say that's usher on Shabbos. That I'll say. I don't say that that's muktzah so much because I gotta be careful. It's the things that are muktzah.
Don't touch it. Or something.
I wouldn't say don't touch it. That's right inaccurate. You can touch muktzah. Don't move it. Maybe don't move it. Sometimes I'll say don't move it because move it for itself. Yeah. We'll talk about
your son knows the halacha now. Touching it is not the Isur.
Dangerous that he knows all the halacha.
Is the Isur.
Correct. That's correct. He knows all the halachas now. That's right. It's dangerous. Knowledge is power.
Created a monster.
That's right. Yes, Dr. Noble.
This past Shabbos, we had Shabbos candle and we had Hanukkah candles.
Yes.
What I thought was interesting is that Hanukkah lit, you can't use them when they're lit. Like you can't. Then the Hanukkah lit you can do anything with, and the Shabbos candles you can't do anything with.
Well,
as far as moving.
Well, it's interesting. We had this discussion actually came up at our house on Friday because we had guests. Our cousins were visiting, right? So the topic came up because the Hanukkah candles were not far from the dining room. They were on their own table, the dining room table, and I said, "Can we move this?" And what did I say on Shabbos? What did I say? We can move the Hanukkah table. I said we can't. I said it's a buses. Actually, it's one of the rare. It was a buses. Yeah, because they were. Because same reason. If I have during Beit HaShmashos no reshus to move them, by the way, because I can't. It's also to move them from a Shabbos perspective. I can't move them.
I'm saying independent of Shabbos, you can move them. But when you
can move them. You can't you can't benefit from them. But on Shabbos, once Shabbos starts, I cannot move those candles, and therefore they also become muktzah. And therefore, I looked around the table. And I said the only things that are on here are nothing mutter. There's nothing mutter. There was only the Chanukiah, the multiple Chanukiyot. There was maybe a candle that had been used in the process of the lighting and some matches that were on there. So we couldn't move the table. And as I said to her, I said, "Oh, it's a bustis." Right. So we had a little Shabbos moment there. But okay, so that's the rule here. It is also even l'tzorach gufa l'tzorach makoma, which is a big change. V'yesh mila shehitir. There are those who say no, that permit. V'lo niru dvarav, and the Shulchan Aruch says that his words are not ones that seem to be the one that is a little the logical opinion that makes sense. And so the halacha is l'tzorach gufa l'tzorach makoma. You cannot move it. So if you have the Shabbos candles on the that are on the table, and you want to be able to, you say, oh, well, now that the candles are out, it's all out, I'll move it. Shabbos candles are immovable. And this gets into the whole question about, like, can you shake the table and move the thing off in a tiltum and hatzad way? That might be okay if there's a reason for it, but it has to be min hatzad. You can't directly move it. The pen that's on the table, you don't need to shake it. I see this, people do this all the time. They see something as muktzah and they start to shake it away. I said, no, you can take it with your hands, pick up the pen and move it. You get one move. Take it and move it to a place that is out of the way. You can take it and move it across the house. As long as in that one move, you move it. You put it down somewhere, now it's stuck. Not that you can't move it again if there's some need for that other place, but you should really try to move it to a place that's out of the way.
So the wallet in the bed, is it?
So the wallet was interesting. Money is an interesting thing. We'll get to money. Money is an interesting thing.
Yeah, let's not get carried away here.
Money is an interesting thing. Because it's really it's not usable on Shabbos in any way.
So it's like a block down the bed.
So you could shake that off for sure. You know.
Take it directly.
I need to go back and look it up. I think money is also a problematic is one of the other problematic categories.
It's good that.
So that's when you could shake it out, no problem, because you could shake it out because why? The coat wasn't a basis. Remember, a basis only happens when it's intentional. So, but the coat's holding the money. The coat is not holding the money in a basis way, because basis, we learned in the previous shiur, it has to be with kavana. That I lit a candles, and the Hanukkah candles, like in our house, is meant to be there, right? That the money was in the pocket, it was not meant to be there.
The wallet's not meant to be on the bed. Right?
Correct. That's why the bed is not. That's why if you wanted to move the bed later or the mattress or wherever it was on, you can move it. You might need to just do a quick shake. Take the sheet off for a second, shake the sheet, and then put the sheet back on. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can move the sheet that it's on and shake it off. Okay.
So this makes
a
cliche makala at a higher level.
Yes, because it's not just a cliche. It's not just a clean out. It is muktzah machmas. It is set aside. It is set aside. Like a cliche malachta li'isr is not muktzah. This is the thing. This was the chiddush I learned when I was in Tmicha, and we were learning Shabbos. So we were learning muktzah with Rabbi Lieder, and I remember I was like, "Oh, a pen is not muktzah. It is a mislabeling of how we call it. A pen, as an example, is a kli shemalachta li'isr. That is the correct terminology. It is a vessel that is used for prohibited purposes, but it itself is not muktzah. The things that are muktzah are not usable or have no purpose. That's what Rabbi Shechter always call it junk, dirt. That's not set aside. Dirt. Unless I have no reason to use dirt. That's another category called muktzah machmas chesron kis, because it's so valuable. No one in their right mind would ever use it for any other purposes than its actual purpose. So in theory, I don't think this is the case. So for all those listening in the wide world of YouTube, do not send me a message saying you're wrong, because on this point, let's say I'm making a theoretical case. Let's say you had an iPhone that was worth $800, and you're like, I would never use it for any other purposes, even though we all use our phones for other purposes. We don't treat it like it's worth $800 or $1,000, whatever it is. We treat it much more, like whatever. That's why screens crack all the time, because we don't actually treat it with the same, cover that the money is. If in theory it was, that would mean that your expensive iPhone should be, there's no other purpose. You could say, would I use it as a paperweight? If you would use it as a paperweight on Shabbos, you have a book that keeps flipping up and you're annoyed by the pages, and you're like, no, I'm going to take the phone. It's right here on the table. I'm not going to use it for the phone. It's off. It's completely off. No issue. If I am not willing to use it as a paperweight, other things, then it's muktzah machmas chesron kis. You say, but and if its only usage is prohibited, meaning your cell phone's only real usage, how I would use it is in a prohibited way, then that also becomes immovable, even l'tzorach gufa l'tzorach makom, because there's no same svara. There is no purpose for it at all. There is no way for me to use this in any other way, and therefore it is only to use it in an usher way. Then it is completely set aside on Shabbos. And that's also sticks and stones and dirt are the same, because they have absolutely no usage. They're out there in nature. I have no use. and if the stick is in the way on the path, you are actually have to kick it out of the way, right? The people for sakana, other people shouldn't trip. I shouldn't trip. That's a different story. But if there's just random sticks and there's random sticks that are not in the way, this is the thing that I like to use the word muktzah with my kids. And they want to pick up a stick. They want to pick up a rock. There is no purpose for it. It was not set aside for Shabbos. You have a pet rock. You have rocks you like to play with. You have sticks you like to play with. Actually, you do. Right? In our house, by the front, they have rocks that they painted. They like to. Okay, that's a different story. Those are rocks that are set aside. So, anywho, that is also Allah where that comes from. Let's just read Sif Katan Dalid, and then we'll pause for today. Sif Katan Dalid Mishnah. Hello, Dami Lisha. Afilu Tzarech Mafule. Hello, Dami Lisha. Lisha Malach Alister. He just says what I've been talking about the last few minutes now, and it's not like other vessels that are typically used for prohibited purposes. Right? They're not being used for it right now in their prohibited fashion. Okay? The mutar l'taltal, which those things you are permitted to move. L'tzorach gufo u'makomo, whether it's to use itself, the back scratcher, or the place where it is. Kamo de isla b'simin shin ches, simin shin ches is a big simin about muktzah. This is coming up because it relates to candles, and it's thematically connected right now. Okay? The hacha came in the bein hashmashos haya asul l'taltalos. Since again, it goes back to that rule. During bein hashmashos, it was prohibited to move. L'tzorach gufo makomo. Even during bein hashmashos, I couldn't even move it. L'tzorach gufo, l'tzorach makomo, because the candle was lit. So I can't move the oil. I can't move the lamp because to move it would be to violate nisr of mavir and mechabe. Right? I'm kindling and extinguishing it by shaking the oil. So the lamp was immovable during that Bein Hashmashos period, even if I wanted to use it for something prohibited, for something permitted. Like I need the space where the candle is right now. I'm moving it somewhere else, but my shaking the lamp by moving it is usher. And since the moving of the like, there is no permissible thing I could do with this during the time of Bein Hashmashos while the candles are lit. Therefore, since I couldn't use it l'tzarach gufa or makomo during that time, the hayabasis lashal heves, since it became it's a base for the flame. It is completely set aside during Bein Hashmashos. There is no other usage. Therefore, it is completely set aside for the entirety of Shabbos day. That is the rule that the rabbis established about muktzah. That Bein Hashmashos koveya the status, it establishes the status of the item for the entirety of Shabbos. So something happens later. Let's say a candle gets put later on Shabbos, not during Bein Hashmashos. I don't know. Let's say there was a choleh who needed heat and you need to turn on the fire, but it was on Shabbos. That thing, after it burns out, this is the crazy part, it is not set aside. The lamp that was holding the flame that was there, that was lit because of the cholah sheyesh bo sakon, that was a cholah who needed heat. And then it burns out later on. That is not set aside because it didn't happen during Bein Hashmashos. That's how firm and steady this rule is. That is how much Chazal put into place this rule of Bein Hashmashos. Then it's a problem because of Easter Shabbos. Well, but it's being used right now. Then that's an impossibility. Meaning, if there was a second compartment, let's say there's a lamp compartment, there's a second compartment, and I can put the hummus in there. That's actually not a problem. You know why? Because I don't have to move it. Because I'll put the hummus in there, and I'll come and dip the hummus. Right.
Excuse me, Rav.
Yes.
You are saying that on Shabbos, if there is a choleh, are you allowed to use or move, or it's a basis, whatever? You are allowed, in fact, to be mechalel Shabbos for the sake of the choleh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. For sure. Yeah. If that's a necessary remedy for the situation.
Right. Obviously. I mean, yes. I understand. Okay.
Yeah. Now the Mishnah Berurah just ends this one, and then we'll stop here. There's no differentiation in all this, whether you have the lamp which has the oil in it, where we have the flame. Uvein hamenorah shiliku bahaneros, or you have a candelabra that's holding up many candles. That's holding up many, candles, many flames. Digam huna sebasis lahaneros. So you have a candelabra which then has a lamp, a little holder in it, right? It's like you have in the Hanukkah licht. You have if you have like the what do you call it? The little cup with the oil in it, and it's being held up by a different thing. The Chanukiah, the oil, the little cup, and the oil, and the wick are all abasis to the flame. And that's why we said on the Shabbos, we said the Chanukiah is a basis. It's holding everything in this whole table, and now the table itself is a basis. A little later, we'll get there. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll see the Ramah's kula next week about this one. He has one kula about the situation. So don't miss it next week, and then we'll talk about the fascinating topic of I don't know if we'll fully get into the kikar otino, but they get into lechem. I want to put lechem on the tray, which has the candles. This is your case from earlier. Can I move it? Shkoyach, everyone.
Yeah, Rav.